Namo Aditafa. Thanks so much for joining me for a daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This wonderful sound calls us back to our true home. The fourth mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by unmindful speech and the inability to listen to others, I vow to cultivate loving speech and deep listening in order to bring joy and happiness to others and to relieve others of their suffering. Knowing that words can create happiness or suffering, I'm determined to speak truthfully with words that inspire self-confidence, joy, and hope. I will not spread news I do not know to be certain, and will not criticize or condemn things of which I am not sure. I will refrain from uttering words that can cause division or discord, or that can cause a family or the community to break. I'm determined to make all efforts to reconcile and resolve all conflicts, however small. For our Dharma lesson, we're reading More Than Mindfulness, Widening the Field of Practice by the Monastics of the Thai Forest Sangha. And we're continuing a talk today by Ajahn Ahimsako, Returning the Light. I'll give an example. Less than a month ago, we finished our winter retreat. Just 36 hours after the retreat ended, I found myself sitting in the airport ready to fly off to another country to lead a retreat. Apart from going on alms round, it was the first time I'd been out of the monastery, and I felt wide open from 3 months of meditation. However, I could really feel the mind wanting to engage with what I was seeing, that energy of the mind wanting to drink it in, to keep it. I think this was especially the case because I was going to Latvia, a country I'd never been to. I'd never been anywhere in that part of the world before, and I could feel a great interest. I arrived there early enough in the day to go out and walk around the city of Riga, but right away I could feel the mind wanting to grab on. My mind was going outside of its center. Fortunately, I had 3 months of meditative momentum and was able to spot what I was doing right away. For instance, if I jump forward to further down in this formulation of the Four Noble Truths, the mind seeing the mind, my mind saw the mind that was reaching out. It was all harmless stuff. I was simply walking around this very old and beautiful city, but I was quite affected. I see in myself this effect of going to places that are very beautiful. I ask the question, what's wrong with being in a beautiful place? Essentially, I don't think anything is wrong, but I could feel the seeds of suffering, of trying to capture it. With the momentum from the recent retreat, I was able to catch myself and decided to create a simple mantra for that day. Restrain yourself, Ahimsako. Last year, somebody gave me a camera, which I had taken with me on that trip. I didn't want to be monk with camera, going around taking pictures, but I noticed myself looking around and thinking, there aren't too many people nearby. Click. I had 2 reasons for wanting to take photos. One is that I make online photo albums for my mother, and she really appreciates them. She can't travel anymore because she's quite old, but if I'm totally honest, on that occasion I was mostly trying to capture the image for myself as a memento, but more importantly, I caught myself trying to capture that experience, to cling to it in some way. In the afternoon it started to rain. There was still a lot of daylight left, and I thought I could go out again and do some more sightseeing, still capture some more moments. But I could feel that energy of wanting to get as much as possible out of the experience of having a free afternoon in a foreign city. And in that energy, there was a degree of stress. The mind thinking, it's starting to rain. Why don't I go back to the lovely apartment where they put me? Why don't I just let go? I could see what I was doing quite clearly. I recognized the First Noble Truth. trying to get as much as you can out of an experience, is dukkha. It was harmless. Nobody was getting hurt. I wasn't causing any disruption in the city of Riga, just walking around, and everyone seemed quite nice and friendly. But I saw that experience of my mind going outside. I can easily see why Luangpo Duna used that way of reflecting on the Noble Truths. If we're always trying to get sense experience to create happiness, for example, we want to listen to really good music. It's harmless so long as we're not hurting anybody to get that experience. But if we're living life just for experience, just to gratify all the six senses, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, is that peaceful? Using my example of going to Latvia, if I need to try and wrangle getting invited to some place that I've never been to so that I can be a tourist monk, among other things, this is wrong use of monastic life. This is not why we become a monk or a nun, and it's suffering. This is stressful. This is unsatisfactory. However, we can use those experiences to observe what we're doing, to see the mind getting sent out. And what Luangpo Dune was saying is that the result of that is suffering. If I hadn't seen what I was doing, then that way of relating to experiences could have been perpetuated. This brings us to that Luangpo Dune saying, the mind seeing the mind is the path, the Noble Eightfold Path, the path to liberation. May all beings be well, may all beings be happy, may all beings be peaceful. Namo Adita Phat. Thanks so much for joining me today.